Have you ever been fingered by an MMA fighter before?
With Jon Jones fleeing the UFC, running away from the division, being the coward that he is, he's going on to pursue being a criminal full time, right? Now that Jon Jones is finally gone, we can talk about the future of the heavyweight division. And by that, I mean who is most likely to defeat Tom Aspinall. Now, we look at the heavyweight division, and I will say this, it looks bleak. It looks very dark. But I, Tony Has Died, am going to tell you who I think is most likely to defeat Tom Aspinall. When I say that the future of heavyweight is bleak, I don't mean that Tom Aspinall is a bad champion. What I mean is there are very few competitive matchups for Tom Aspinall left at this point, because we have seen what Tom Aspinall is able to do to anybody that lacks a certain level of skill. So coming in at dead last on this list is everybody else. Riz Vankuniev, Martin Budai, Taliesin Teixeira, Mick Parkin, Shamil Blobgaziev, Taco Bell Tuivasa, Derek Lewis, Sergey Spivak, Ty Bora, Waldo Cortez Acosta, and Curtis Blades. All of these people stand absolutely no chance against Tom Aspinall and would get flatlined by him in about 20 seconds. So that's what makes me look at this. I look at the heavyweight rankings and I think, all right, Shamil Gaziev, he's 2 fights from the title. We got Waldo Cortez Acosta. He's 1 fight from the title. The rest of the division, it's looking bleak, man. It's looking really scary. But yeah, none of these people stand any chance. Now I know what you're, dude, I can already see the comments. Bro, Blades already beat him once. He already beat him once. Shut up. Everybody that I just listed stands no chance against Tom Aspinall. 0% chance of winning. And so yeah, the next person who I think is least likely to beat Tom Aspinall is Sirro Gan, which is most likely going to be the next matchup that gets made in the heavyweight division. Sirro Gan versus Tom Aspinall, probably going to be either in October in Abu Dhabi or Madison Square Garden. Now, if I was them, I would switch that. There's a September card that just got booked. I liked what MMA Guru said. They should turn that into a pay-per-view and do Gan versus Aspinall in France, but I don't think they're going to do that. What I think is going to happen is they'll end up fighting each other sometime in November or October. What is Sirro Gan's route to victory? If Sirro Gan can take this fight past the first round, that is the only chance that I think that he could have to win the fight. But besides that, there is probably nothing that Sirro Gan can do. So for Sirro Gan to be able to win this fight, Tom Aspinall basically has to have no gas tank past round 1 whatsoever. No ability to go 5 rounds whatsoever. Because in the first round of this fight, Tom Aspinall is going to double leg Sirro Gan and choke him out the exact same way that Jon Jones did. Or maybe even just land a shot on Sirro Gan. Sirro Gan actually does probably have similar speed, but his lack of grappling is what's concerning for him in this fight. We've seen this guy out wrestled by Francis Ngannou, bro. And I guess you could say, bro, Ngannou, who's actually an underrated grappler. Shut up. All right, he stands a 1% chance at beating Tom Aspinall, only if Aspinall has literally no gas tank past round 1, and Sirro Gan can just kick him at range and leg kick him. But this guy got out wrestled by Volkov. 1% chance for Sirro Gan. I got Sergey Pavlovich at 5% to beat Tom Aspinall in a rematch. Now, why do I have Sergey Pavlovich at 5%? Simply because he has a puncher's chance. All right? Compared to the rest of the heavyweights who have power, like Tuivasa, like Curtis Blades, who has somewhat a bit of power, like Derek Lewis, Sergey Pavlovich actually has decent boxing and an ability to hit his opponent. Now, we saw in the first fight between Tom Aspinall and Sergey Pavlovich that Sergey Pavlovich was able to land 1-2 on Tom Aspinall, and I actually picked Sergey Pavlovich to win that fight because I thought that if Sergey Pavlovich hit Tom Aspinall first, he'd put him out. And he hit Tom Aspinall first, and it didn't do shit to him, because it turns out Tom Aspinall actually has a very, very good chin, believe it or not. So the way that Sergey Pavlovich could ever win a fight against Tom Aspinall is he's got to knock him out with one punch, man. And that's the only chance that he has. So for that reason, I put Sergey Pavlovich at 5% chance to beat Tom Aspinall. Yeah, so the next person on this list who I think has a very low chance of beating Tom Aspinall, but has a chance to beat him, is Alexander Volkov. Now listen, the only reason that I'm putting Alexander Volkov above Gan and above Pavlovich is because even though he got submitted by Aspinall, I think that he's improved leaps and bounds since that fight. We've seen him offensively grapple Sirro Gan, and not just that, have very close striking matches with Sirro Gan as well. We've seen this guy. We saw him knock out Jairzinho Rosenstrike. We've seen him knock out Alexander Romanov. We saw him make easy work of Tai Tuivasa. We saw him pick apart Sergey Pavlovich. And then finally, we saw him defeat Sirro Gan. One of the worst robberies of last year. One of the worst robberies I've ever seen. He defeated Sirro Gan. If you really count the Sirro Gan when he's gone on a 5-fight win streak since losing to Tom Aspinall, and he's clearly gotten better. So I think that with the improvements that he's made in his game, I think that he stands a better chance than the first time he fought him, and I honestly think that maybe we could even see a second round. But at the end of the day, Gan was still landing punches on Volkov, and Gan also has no ground game at all. So will the improvements be enough to defeat Aspinall? I don't think so. That's why I give him like a 10%, 11%, one of those numbers. I'm just pulling out some numbers here, doing the math real quick. Doing some math. Yeah, actually, guys, I was wrong. It was 12% to defeat Tom Aspinall. But yeah, I think that Volkov doesn't stand much of a chance. The next person on this list is Alex Poatan Pereira. Now, a lot of people have been talking about Pereira moving up to heavyweight for quite some time, but I was one of the people saying he has to fight Ankalaev before he can move up. And I still stand by that. I'm glad he fought Ankalaev, and he should be rematching him in Abu Dhabi. If the matchmakers do the correct thing, Pereira versus Ankalaev 2 should get made in October. Now, if he wins that fight or if he loses that fight, I think that he can move up to heavyweight. Now, if he loses to Ankalaev again, he'll have to fight somebody else first at heavyweight, like Sirro Gan, like Curtis Blades, somebody in that top 5. He'll have to fight someone first. But if he beats Ankalaev, I think you can justify him moving to heavyweight and fighting for the belt against Tom Aspinall, which would be a huge fight. Now, how do I think that Pereira would actually do against Tom Aspinall? I think, kind of like I said about Sergey Pavlovich, he does have a puncher's chance, and I think he has a better puncher's chance than Sergey Pavlovich, because when you put the striking of Pereira next to the striking of Tom Aspinall, Pereira is a much, much better and more technical fighter, and honestly, he might even have more power than Sergey Pavlovich. I know that sounds like a kind of crazy thing to say, considering Sergey Pavlovich probably weighs 30 more pounds than him, but from what I can tell, Pereira knocks people the fuck out, and they don't get up. Versus Pavlovich kind of TKOs people, And he hasn't TKO'd anyone in a long time either. Didn't TKO Volkov and didn't TKO Rosenstrike. Free Rosenstrike, by the way. Bring Rosenstrike back. I think that Alex Pereira has a better puncher's chance than anybody. Well, yeah, I think he has a better chance to just hit Aspinall at the beginning of the fight and knock him out. And honestly, we've seen this guy have pretty good takedown defense against Ankalaev. He got every takedown stuffed, and he even took Ankalaev down himself. Only man to ever take down Alex Pereira was Adesanya. People forget, man. I think Alex Pereira has pretty good takedown defense, but against someone like Aspinall, who's going to be weighing a lot more than him, and honestly, I don't know if he's going to be faster than Pereira. I would say so at that weight class. Somebody like Aspinall, who is that fast and can just shoot a double leg and take Pereira down. Pereira's probably just going to get choked out in the first minute. So for Alex Pereira, I give him like a 15% chance. Wait, hold up. You hear that? I'm getting a call from my local scientist. Yeah, he just gave me a correction. He said that Alex Pereira only stands a 14% chance to defeat Tom Aspinall if they ever ended up fighting each other. Next person on this list, we got the Argonian himself, Jotton Almeida. Now, the thing with Jotton Almeida is that he is actually a very small light heavyweight, but he's also extremely well-rounded, and he's also probably the best like straight grappler in that division. So if we just say wrestling technique, Jotton Almeida is probably the best. Now I know what you're thinking to yourself. Tony has died. Did Jotton Almeida get knocked out by Curtis Blades? Yes, he did. Okay, but at the end of the day, he was mauling Blades that first round in the grappling, and he just held on to a single leg too long and got knocked out. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would the same thing not just happen in the Aspinall fight? Which it probably would. Yeah, we saw in the fight with Spivak that we saw that Almeida was good enough to take him down and just, beat the fuck out of him. You know what I mean? So the thing is that could Almeida take Aspinall down? Because we've never seen someone attempt to take Tom Aspinall down. We've just seen someone strike with him the whole time. And so what would it really look like if someone was shooting a takedown on him, One of Tom Aspinall's only losses is to submission, even though it was super early in his career. I think Jotton Almeida, like skill for skill-wise, is probably one of the better fighters in the division. If we look at the statistics for Jotton Almeida, he averages over 82% of top position control. In the fight with Derek Lewis, he literally just held him down for 21 minutes straight. So he has really good takedowns, man. And he has good cardio, he has good pressure, and just like I said with the Sirro Gan situation, maybe Tom Aspinall passed the third round in a 5-round fight. Maybe he can't hang in that department. We don't know yet. There's just too many questions unanswered about Aspinall, But at the end of the day, I think that Tom Aspinall would probably just dribble Jotton Almeida's head off the fucking canvas like a basketball. So I'm going to give Jotton Almeida a 20% chance to win this fight now. A lot of people, like my scientists, they're all saying 20% is too much. I don't care what they say. I've done the research. I put the numbers in the calculator. All right. And the numbers come back 20% every time. And the next person on this list, we got Francis, the Predator, Ngannou. Now, realistically, flag on the play, the ref's blowing the whistle. Tony has died. Francis Ngannou is never coming back to the UFC. Dana White has sent him to go shovel sand for eternity. He's going to go give motorcycle driving lessons. Okay, that was too far. All right. But this guy is just too inactive, man. Like, we have seen him fight once in MMA since he left the UFC. Now, he arguably beat Tyson Fury, another Englishman. Tom Aspinall versus Francis Ngannou. Who would win? Now, we have seen Francis Ngannou stuff takedowns from Stipe Miocic because he is such a fucking tank. He's literally like Joe Rogan says, he's made of mahogany. He's a fucking animal. Like, Francis Ngannou is pure strength incarnate. He's pure raw athleticism. He has good takedown defense. He has decent boxing. And he has one-hit knockout power. And we saw in his last two fights an ability to win a fight via grappling. The fight with Sirro Gan, which honestly could have gone to Gan. And the fight with Renan Ferreira, where he took Renan Ferreira down the first round and then ground and pounded him. Now, similar to the Jotton Almeida situation, could Francis possibly take Aspinall down? Yeah, it's a possibility, but it's probably very unlikely. This fight would most likely stand on the feet, and we saw in the Derek Lewis fight, Francis Ngannou was afraid to fight with Derek Lewis because he feared his one-hit knockout ability, and ended up losing the fight because of it. Would Francis Ngannou even want to fucking fight with Tom Aspinall? Because the last time he fought someone with equal power to himself, he just fucking stared at him across the cage the whole fight. Yeah, these are the questions we gotta ask ourselves. Would Francis even engage? And we know Tom Aspinall would engage because we've seen him fight Pavlovich. So the first person to throw a punch in this fight would most likely be Tom Aspinall. And I don't think that Ngannou, at this stage in his career, who did get flatlined by Anthony Joshua with a clean punch, I think that Tom Aspinall would knock out Francis. But Francis stands a better chance than any of the people I've listed beforehand, simply because he possesses not only grappling, not only strength and technique, but I still think Tom Aspinall's better. So I give Francis Ngannou a 31% chance to defeat Tom Aspinall. Who do I think is the best person that could defeat Tom Aspinall? Magomed Ankalaev. I think that the hardest fight in Tom Aspinall's career would be against this man, Magomed Ankalaev. Now, Ankalaev is not only one of the most technical strikers in the UFC, but he is also one of the best grapplers in the UFC for the upper weight classes. This guy has fucking Dagestani wrestling, and he has elite Sambo kickboxing, alright? He outstruck Alex Pereira every round. I know what you're going to say, it was a close fight. It was. But doing that to Alex Pereira, he even stunned him in round 2 on the feet, is highly impressive without even fucking shooting a takedown at that point. I still don't think that Ankalaev could beat Tom Aspinall, because Tom Aspinall would weigh 40 more pounds than him in the cage. But if Ankalaev could do a proper bulk to 265 pounds, I think that his skill would translate very well. The only time he got dropped by Thiago Santos, all right? And I'll say this, that's why I probably would pick Tom Aspinall to win this fight. And honestly, Pereira was landing some good shots. You know, there's an argument that fight could be scored to him. I'm not going to say it was. I think that's kind of delusion, but there's an argument, right? This is kind of the point that I'm trying to make, man. Like, these are Ankalaev's not moving up to heavyweight anytime soon. He's got a whole division to clear out. But that's what the point I'm trying to make is, now that John Jones is gone, man, it's looking bleak. Like, we got fucking, if Taliesin Teixeira beats Derek Lewis, and then he beats, Martian Tybura, they're giving that motherfucker a title shot, man. If Riz Van Cunha puts 3 wins together, he's getting a title shot. Like, this is the state of heavyweight, man. And that's why I kind of wanted to make this video, just to shed some light on, these are the potential opponents for Tom Aspinall. He's got an easy division to clear out. Yep, that will do it for the video. If you like the video, like, subscribe, do all that YouTube shit. Thank you guys so much for 7,000 subscribers. It means the absolute world to me. You have no idea. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.